Properly advertised in compliance with the requirements of the Sunshine Law. We're going to have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mrs. Applegate. Mrs. Dendler.
Here.
Mrs. DiNardo.
Here.
Mr. Fagan.
Here.
Mr. Hamilton.
Here.
Mr. Hines.
Here.
Dr. Nichols. Here. Mr. Whitley.
Here.
Mr. Wright.
Here. Just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's a busy time of year and we have a pretty full agenda tonight, so we're going to get started right away. But I do thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be here. Could I have a motion for approval of the minutes for the regular meeting from May 6, 2019?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
May I abstain?
No presentations at this time, and we are not going into executive session at this time as well. So it takes us to our public comment on agenda items only. So we'd like to open up the floor for public comment on agenda items only. No comments? We'll move to our district department quarterly report. We'll start with Westampton Middle School. Mr. Andrews.
As it is with every June, there's a lot going on. So far, just this month alone, we had the 8th grade awards dinner on Wednesday, which is always a really nice event. It's to recognize 8th grade students who got special awards. And the good thing about having it outside of graduation is, one, it makes graduation shorter, but two, then you can put student names in the graduation program, so they can have that as a keepsake. So Ms. Casparo and Mrs. Yorkie and everyone who helped out did a really great job. Equally as enjoyable was the in-service on Thursday, the luncheon. WA does a great job with that, so thank you. And all the awards were well deserved. We had the 8th grade class trip on Friday, went off pretty much without incident. Kids had a great time. And field day is postponed until tomorrow. And this is a copy of the yearbook, which will be distributed this week to kids. So Mrs. Duba and her crew did a really good job in putting the yearbook together. Of course, we're looking forward to graduation on Saturday. It's at the Army Pack Center, 10 a.m. And lastly, last day of school is next Tuesday. Report cards will be distributed to all the underclassmen. And one more. Mrs. Perry invited a Holocaust survivor in to speak with her students on Wednesday. So that's going to take place Wednesday morning. That's it.
Thank you. And the HIB report?
There was a investigation both at the intermediate school and at the middle school. And that will be, I believe, on your agenda for the end of June.
Okay, thank you. The intermediate school report, Dr. Feldman?
Well, first on a district level, we have completed NJSLA testing for 3 through 8, math, language arts, science, finished. It last Friday, it ended, and everything is in the state's hands now. From the intermediate school, since we were last together, we had both of our field trips, our 4th and 5th grade field trips. We had good weather for both, so that was really nice, as well as good weather this past Friday for our 5th grade end of year ice cream social, which went really well. PTO provided ice cream sundaes for the kids. We played music outside, and it just had them brought, Mr. and Mrs. Yorkie gave us equipment. They played, and they had some parents volunteer, and it was just a nice afternoon. We also had the 3rd grade come up here to visit for the day and get a tour, spend time with Mr. Doyle and I. Very excited to eat lunch in the cafeteria here. That's all they could talk about. As we were waiting for the buses to shuttle them back, I was asking them questions about what they loved most of the day, and all they could talk about was the food in the kitchen. So Pam and her crew did an excellent job. But they got a chance to go to the 4th grade classrooms and meet the teachers and get a feel for what it will be like when they come up here in the fall. And then, as Mr. Andrews said, we got rained out today for field day, so our field day is rescheduled for tomorrow, and the PTO is supplying lunch for that as well, for staff and students. So that's about it.
And Holly Hill School report, Anthony, you're going to speak for it.
I will speak for the Mary. She would like to thank the PTO and the parent volunteers for a very successful field day and the third grade end of the year celebration. Both went very well. Students enjoyed both of them. She would like to thank Dr. Feldman for organizing the third grade visit to WIS. We had the third graders came over for an orientation day here at the intermediate school. They're really looking forward to fourth grade. They have a second grade concert for parents, and thank you out to Linda Welty, the music teacher, and Nicole McCarty, the art teacher. Also thanks to the custodial staff for the setup and the breakdown for the concert. And on Friday afternoon, this Friday afternoon, the 4-year-old preschool students will graduate. She thanks everyone for their support.
Okay, thank you. Special Services Report, Mrs. Zitter.
Today, the newsletter went out to all staff, the last newsletter of the year. It was on tips to avoid that summer academic regression. So, preschool applications have been collected. We were able to accept pretty much everyone who applied for the preschool. And that leaves us with 1 to 2 spots left in each class. So, it's looking good. And we're just finalizing plans for next year. IEPs are getting completed, finalized, and ESY is in its final stages.
Great, thank you. Superintendent's Report, Dr. Petrozelli.
I think you pick up on the theme that we feel it's a busy time of year. It is an extremely busy time of year. It's also a great time of year for me to reflect on how good it is to be superintendent and not a building administrator, because those guys are a lot busier than me this time of year. Kind of a crazy time of year. We did take time last week with a lot of help from 5th, 6th, and 7th grade teachers and Matt Doyle, the guidance counselor. We surveyed the 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. We had 2 talks with them. We talked to them as a whole group 2 days in a row. On the second day, they got to meet with their friends and peers and talk about the survey questions before they took the actual survey. And 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, because that's next year's middle school students, so they'll make up WNS next year. And we kind of wanted to get the year off to a great start next year by asking them some questions at the end of this year about what they want their next year to look like. My challenge to them was, I had asked them a question when we had them all together, who had a great year this year, and there were only a few hands that went up. So I told them, between them and us, there's no reason in the world we can't make a year where everybody's hand goes up this time next year. So that's our challenge. We started it off with student surveys this year. That's what I have to report.
Great, thank you. Facilities Report, Ms. McGuire.
Jason and his staff are welcoming the end of the school year. They are getting ready for their summer work. Speaking with Matt and Jen of what rooms will be painted, what's going to be happening. Hopefully it'll be an uneventful summer and schools will start in September.
Great, thank you. No correspondence at this time, which takes us to our Board of Education committee reports. Starting with our Budget and Personnel Committee, I'd like a motion to combine 11A1 to 11A20.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Or maybe not. 11A1 is for the payment of bills. 11A2 is for the payment of the cafeteria account bills. 11A3 is for the approval of the resignation of a Holly Hills aide. 11A4 is for the approval of a paternity leave. 11A5 is for the approval of training days for a new board secretary. 11A6 is for the approval of training days for a new curriculum secretary. 11A7 is an approval of a full-time custodian. 11A8 is for approval of a summer secretarial coverage for the intermediate school. 11A9 is for the approval of a resignation of a Westampton middle school teacher. 11A11, Resolution 2318, is for the appointments of all of the professional services listed below for architect, auditor, engineer, environmental, physician, and solicitor. 11A12 is for the approval of the resignation of a Holly Hills aide. 11A13 is for the approval of a salary adjustment for a custodian. 11A14 is the approval of resignation of a custodian. 11A15 is for the approval of a Westampton intermediate school teacher. 11A16 is for the approval of the ESY staff as listed below. 11A17 is for the approval of summer CST work. 11A18 is for the approval of teacher hours for summer CST meetings as listed below. 11A19 is for the approval of resignation of Westampton Middle School aide. And 11A20 is for approval of a curriculum secretary. Are there any questions on those 20 items?
Real quick. Custodian, we have last year, they will be last year. And for the summer secretary coverage, what is that number? 28 hours a day? Which number am I on? I'm sorry,
11A.
That's about, I would say, averaging out about 2 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
2.5
what
hours a
it
day. Yeah.
Any other questions? Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Demler? Yes. Mrs. DeNardo? Yes. Mr. Fagan?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Dr. Nichols? Yes. Mr. Whitley?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes. 11B is for our Curriculum Community Committee. And with that, I'd like a motion to combine 11B1 to 11B5. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. 11B1 is for the approval of a reading list. 11B2 is for the approval of district curriculums. 11B3 is for summer reading and math letter. 11B4 is for the approval of a Kona Ice fundraiser. And 11B5 is for the approval of the 1920 school calendar. Are there any questions on those 5 items? Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Demler? Yes. Mrs. DeNardo? Yes. Mr. Fagan?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Dr. Nichols? Mr. Whitley?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes. Next up is the Legislative Policy Committee. With 11C1, the superintendent calls for a motion to pass the first reading of adoption of the bylaws, policy, and regulations.
Moving.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. 12A, there are no information items at this time. 12B, your enrollment report was either in your booklet or in your email. 12C, the fire security drills are listed as below. 12D for suspensions for May 2019 was in your booklet or in your email. 12E, there are no student action items. 12F, there are no reports, which takes us to our 12G miscellaneous action items. And with that, I would like a motion to combine 12G1 to 12G4.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. 12G1 is for the approval of facilities use for calendar for the middle school and Holly Hills. 12G2 is for the Resolution 2418, appointment of a district affirmative action officer. 12G3 is for Resolution 2518, affirmation of a comprehensive equity plan needs assessment. And 12G4, Resolution 2618, affirmation of submission of a comprehensive equity plan. Are there any questions on those 4 items? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. 13, the reports of the school business administrator and board secretary. 13A, there are no information items at this time. 13B, your monthly attendance report for May 2019 is in your booklet or in your email. 13C, cafeteria report for April 2019 is in your booklet or email. 13D, building inspection reports, none at this time, which takes us to 13E, our action items, and I would like a motion to combine 13E1 to 15A1.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. 13E1 is for the monthly reports of the board secretary and treasurer. 13E2 is for the mileage reimbursement. 13E3 is for the approval of a BIATA nurse agreement. 13E4 is for Resolution 2718, which is the approval of a transfer of current year surplus to reserve. 13E5 is for the resolution 2018, which is to approve and establish transfer of current year surplus to maintenance reserve. 13E6 is for the approval of a landscaping company. 14, no unfinished business. And 15A1, the approval of substitute teachers, support staff, and custodians. Are there any questions on those items? Motion to approve. Roll call.
Mrs. Demler?
Yes.
Mrs. DeNardo?
Yes.
Mr. Fagan?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols? Mr. Whitley?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes. At this time, we'd like to open up public comment on non-agenda items only. Public comment on non-agenda items only. All right.
Hi, everyone.
I got to read my thing as you know. It is anticipated that before addressing the board, individuals have given the appropriate school district staff an opportunity to address all issues and questions. Questions and/or comments should be directed to the board president and/or superintendent. The total allotted for public comment is 15 minutes. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes of comment time. In an effort to ensure that each speaker is given the full 3 minutes of comment time, please complete your statement and/or ask all questions and indicate you are done, and then just name and address. Thank you, Matt. Much better. Thank you.
Noel Harris, 17
No, we'll have to,
Bloomfield
like,
Drive.
scream at you guys.
17 what? I'm sorry.
Bloomfield Drive. My question is, I sent in paperwork and an email to Mrs. Zitter about my daughter starting a 504, and I was informed that Dr. Feldman was doing the 504s, which confused me. Not that I don't like Dr. Feldman, it's just, you told me when we started this school year that the two schools were separate.
Dr. Feldman is the District 504.
But I don't understand because she's not with my daughter. My daughter's going into 8th grade, so she's going to have no. So why wouldn't you put my daughter with the child study team? Which I don't understand.
Sure, I understand. I understand your question. The 504 is not a special education process, so it wouldn't be. I know you know that. I'm just gonna, it wouldn't be under Mrs. Zitter. Dr. Feldman is our 504 compliance person. She makes sure that the rules of the 504 system are in place. She helps write the plans. She can bring together anybody who needs to be brought together for any consults. And if I'm leaving something out, Dr. Feldman, feel free to add
So
in.
then I
No,
think,
just that I want you to be aware, historically, in most districts, but I can just speak about.
can I
this
look at
one.
her? Because I know I'm not
Yes,
supposed to look at
absolutely.
anyone. That's correct.
That's
I
long
was making
enough.
sure because I don't
There's,
want to get yelled at.
there's one 504 officer for the district. So
Okay.
I've been doing it for K through 8, even when I was at Holly Ellis, I always did 5 through 8. I've
Okay.
been the 504 officer for K through 8. Prior to me, the superintendents were doing it here, but it's one 504 officer. I involve the teachers who work with the child to get their input, certainly if
Right.
I'm not working with the child.
Okay, because I sent paperwork in now. Did you get it?
Yes,
Okay, because I didn't get it. I talked to Jean through email.
I got it about, I think it was about a week or so ago.
All right, so
Usually
I wasn't
it takes me a
sure.
few days to-
Right, so I wasn't sure. Like, do we get something in place for this year, for next year?
No, I just like IEPs where there's 90 days, I technically have 90 days, so there will be something in place by next year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else for public comment on non-agenda items only? Name and address, please.
Ryan, 115 Kings Road. My question is about for next school year, will all the students in Westampton Middle School have access to a textbook for every class at home or in school?
A textbook for every class. I don't know any.
Well,
I don't know which subjects all use textbooks, so I don't know that I can answer that as a
Well, for
blanket
example,
statement.
my son's in 7th grade and they have the textbook available only if you're in the class.
Yeah, some of our textbooks are classroom resources as opposed to distributed to each student in certain subjects.
Right, but the,
So
should they have
no would
access
be
to
the
them?
answer to your original question.
Yeah, but are you going to see to it so they have access to them? Because there is assignments where they need them other than in school.
If an assignment is given that needs the textbook, we will ensure that they have a textbook available. Otherwise, you shouldn't be given that assignment.
Okay, because in health class in particular, they have one textbook for a whole entire classroom if they don't copy down all their notes. It's kind of, it's a little.
This health class, the class that you're
Well,
referencing?
there's health class, social
Like
studies.
social studies, yeah, was the
Yeah.
other one I was gonna say.
If they can't bring a physical book home, they should have access online, at least.
Right, I appreciate that.
Is that something that the school is looking into, or?
In social studies in particular, and I imagine health as well, that the textbook is viewed as a classroom resource. It's not meant to be sent home to do questions in the back of a chapter or things like that. If we're giving assignments for homework,
To study from.
students should be able to do the assignment without the aid of something that they don't have available to them.
Right, but they also have to study for tests from the textbooks, if they can't complete the notes.
Like I said, I mean, if the lessons are designed properly, they shouldn't need a resource that's not available to them. I mean, it's like sending a kid home to do a science lab, but all the equipment is still in school. That's not
Well, it
appropriate.
happens, so,
Well, I appreciate that. That's why
okay.
I will follow up. But I don't want to tell you that the solution is that we're going to buy more textbooks so that every kid takes a social studies book home, because I don't think we use them in that capacity. They're really just a classroom resource.
So what would be a viable solution then? Would that be a curriculum?
To not need the book at home in order to do your assignment, I think
Okay.
is the goal.
Is that, would the teacher be the one to talk to about that, or curriculum? or-
No, talking to us.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll follow up with that.
okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Any other comments on non-agenda items? Name and address.
Carl Eversmeyer, 9 Blue Drive. I don't know if my son's the only one who rides his bike. I know there's like 4 other kids that ride their bikes. But right now at Holly Hills, they kind of chain it to a stop sign. I didn't know if it would be plausible to get a bike rack. I know they run about 450. I'd be willing to maybe throw half towards it, but I don't know if it's ever been brought up. But I think it'd be nice to kids to ride bikes and be able to place them somewhere.
They used to have one.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah, once upon a
There's not one in
time.
Holly Hills. I don't know if there's one here.
At one time there
No,
was.
Well, it's like 10,
Yeah.
it's 10, you can probably fit like 15 on it. 10 rack. It was like 450 from Rowan County. I don't know if there's a local bike shop in Westampton we could reach out to, but I'm willing to donate something.
Maybe somebody did.
I thought they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, appreciate it. Anyone else? Public comment on non-agenda items only? Okay, moving on. Board President's Report, I'm just going to follow up. It's been a busy time of year. I had the honor of attending the 8th grade award ceremony and presenting an award on behalf of the school board. There is a tremendous amount of talent in our school district. It is awesome to be there and just to see the level of talent that the school district actually possesses. It's great to see the kids get up there and see the parents in the crowd kind of beaming and crying and, just seeing all that their kids have achieved. It was awesome. The teacher appreciation luncheon was first class as always. The food was excellent. The teacher of the year and support staff of the year speeches were awesome. And I think the school district does a tremendous job. Whoever set that up was it WEA who sets the luncheon up? You guys did a tremendous job with that. And the intermediate and middle school concert was awesome. I am not artistic or musical, so I'm always blown away by the level of talent that was on the stage. It was a lot of fun, and you could tell a lot of work went in from the teachers involved and the students, and that was really great. So, and with that, we are going to need a motion to go into executive session at this time.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We are going to need probably in the ballpark of 30-plus minutes, and we will not know if action will be taken until we have the actual meeting. So action may or may not be taken, depending on the result of the meeting. So.